Good evening, good to have you with us at the 9 p.m. edition of the Urban Debate. Viewers, the backbone really of Indian cities, Indian urban areas are the workers, are the cab drivers, are your shopkeepers, are those who work in your restaurants, are those who work in your construction business, in your industries and factories. All of these people are literally the ones who drive the growth engines of our economy. And now we are staring at a situation where, because of the lockdown, many of them, a large percentage of them who are migrants, have gone back to their home states. Without money, without a job, without any certainty about their future and food availability, they've all chosen to go back homes, and justifiably so. One can understand their pain and their predicament. But now lies the big challenge. As India unlocks, what do we do? Lakhs of these workers have already gone home. They've gone hundreds of kilometers away, back to Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Bihar. So what do the states like Maharashtra and Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Punjab really do? That's the big question. Let me just give you some numbers to put this in perspective. Maharashtra saw 11 lakh workers leave the state in the last couple of months and go back to their home states. Gujarat saw 20.5 lakh workers leave the state. Karnataka saw an exodus of about 10 lakh workers. Kerala saw about 1 lakh workers leave the state and go. Punjab saw almost 6 lakh workers leave the state. Now, this is not just the urban cities. The problem is also about farming. The problem is also for agriculture. Many of these farmers in Punjab, for example, use these hired workers, these migrant workers on their fields. With the paddy season now coming up, they don't know what to do. They're literally running to the railway station to catch hold of some workers and try and convince them to come and work. Otherwise, an entire season will be lost. So this is what has become the big problem. Now, this being the problem, the question becomes, what do we do? Does the government need to step in with some steps and announcements to incentivize these workers to come back? Is it up to the individual industries and farmers to figure out if they can arrange for transport and bring these people back? Should the states get involved, come out with lucrative announcements to bring these people back home, provide them shelter, provide them money and food, incentivize them with jobs? What should be done? This is purely the question that I want to ask tonight. So let's say good evening to our panelists. First up, I want to go across to Mr. V.R. Sharma, the MD for Jindal Steel and Power Limited, joining us this evening. Mr. Sharma, good evening. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Let's begin with a basic understanding of what is the kind of impact that you are seeing in, your industry is seeing because of this reverse migration.
Yes, good evening. It's a very vital question you have asked today, and this is the talk of the industry. First of all, I'd like to highlight that not many people are not knowing that the 6 states like Odisha, MP, Jharkhand, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and part of Bengal, they export so many people to the country, and those who are the in real times, who are the real workers and who drive the economy. So this is something very sensational and very encouraging also. As far as steel industry is concerned, most of the steel industries, they are located in Odisha, in Chhattisgarh, in Jharkhand, and part of Bengal. So the steel industry is not suffering per se because most of the people, those who have come from other states, they are trying to find out jobs in these states or their home states. So steel industry is doing very well. There is no problem. There is no dearth of labor. But yes, our customers, those who are MSMEs in up north in Delhi or in NCR or also in Gujarat, also in Maharashtra, Pune, Ahmednagar, and down south in Karnataka, they are facing a lot of problems. And I urge to government now, whatever trains we have deployed to transport people from major cities to these 6 or 7 states, So I think the time has come that now we have to have another Sharmik trains to bring them back to the cities. The second point here is the industrialists or the MSMEs or the other business people, they have to incentivize their people. They have to give them salaries. At least 50% of their salary must be paid by them if they are not paid full. And they must ask them, they must go for a people-to-people contact, and they must invite them to come back. And that's the only way that we have to call all these guys, and they should come to back to their work so that they can drive the economy once again.
No, I agree with what you're saying, and of course, transport is one big thing that the government will have to perhaps look into. But Mr. Sharma, from our own ground checks and reports and our conversations, and many experts also believe that these people have now gone through a lot of trauma as well. This pain and the struggle that they had here during the lockdown, the entire journey back has left a lasting impression in their minds, and most of them are not in the mood, are not ready to come back before Diwali. Now, how do we resolve that? Will the industry or the government, who should come out with some kind of incentives here?
We have interacted many group of people. It's a very proximity effect. When a group of persons, they are moving out of a particular town, so the others, they also follow. So this proximity effect is also need to be reversed. So now, what is happening, because most of the people, those who went to their home states, so they were put into quarantine centers, and they are not reached to their homes. So I think they will take another 2 to 3 weeks time to settle. And everybody needs money, and if their jobs are secured, and if their promoters, their employers, they are calling them, then I feel they will go back. It is not a matter of Diwali or Dashera or any other festival, because it is too far away. Diwali is a couple of months more to go. So I think people will come back. It depends upon an individual. It depends upon the employers, those who invite them, call them, make them comfortable, and the proximity effect will again work. As the proximity effect worked while they were going out of the towns, out of the cities, in similar way, they will come back to their jobs. And more and more role is to be played by the employers themselves, and they have to have a people-to-people contact, and they have to make them confident that the situation here is good, and there is no problem, and we will take care of their health and sanitation and everything.
Okay, before I let you go, my last question, Mr. Sharma. There is quite a bit of thought now that perhaps we as a society, we as an industry, as corporates, as even any other sector, fail to take care of our own people. Now, these are the people who run our cities. Literally everywhere you look, they are part of the that segment that keeps the economy going. But when times became tough, we all abandoned them. Today I had one of the legendary lyricists from Bollywood, Javed Akhtar, speak about it, and he said that even the factories and the manufacturing industries failed to take care of the people who worked for them. Do you agree with that thought, that we could have done a lot more? Perhaps they would have stayed back?
You see, the confidence was not built properly, because even I cannot hold industry or the employer responsible for this. Reason being, even the industrialist or the employers or their senior staff were not allowed to go to their factories. I mean, how to contact people, how to bring them to a particular place, how to pay them, how to feed them, that was also a problem. And in many of the cases, there are instances that the industries, they have paid them full salaries, and still some of the people, they have gone back to their homes in a fear that they may catch the disease or the virus. So I think I would say it is normal. It is a human psychology. So this kind of proximity effect, people, they follow the other group, and their peers, and then they take a decision. I am not holding anybody responsible for this, neither the government nor the employers and nor the laborers. The situation was like that, nobody was allowed to move out, and there was a complete lockdown. It was a curfew-like situation, and in such a situation, it is very difficult for any government also to convince people. Everybody is free in the country. If somebody wants to go somewhere, how to hold them. So I think that was a very sad state of affairs at that time. But now everybody needs them, and they also need industry,
Yes, no.
and they will definitely come back. That's what I feel.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Sharma. I know you had limited time, so thank you for speaking with us and joining us right now. And, the point that I'm largely also making is it's not just about the government's responsibility, but the responsibility of those who otherwise employ them, and not just the individual factories. In general, the society, they work for us, they work with us. And when the times came, we forgot about them. We left it to the government to decide what has to be done, or to some NGOs. That became a problem. But now let's focus ahead, and let's focus on how to get these people back and how to ensure that businesses and farming and all of that continues as it used to earlier. Clyde Crasto, Jagpal Singh Khurana, and Chandrakant Salunke, thank you so much for joining us. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for patiently also waiting. I had limited time with Mr. Sharma, so I just wanted to ask him a couple of extra questions. But let's start with you, Jagpal ji. Punjab is also facing a massive problem. The paddy season is here, and you don't have workers for the field.
That is sure that we don't have the workers on the ground. But let me tell you one thing, that we were lucky that actually during holy time, the migrant workers leave for their states back home. So they left in March, and first week of March, those who had gone in first week of March, we are expecting them to come. And they are. Secondly, I want to put it across that as far as Punjab is concerned, and the relationship of the migrant labor and the Punjabis over here has been traditionally very, very strong. And the reason behind that is that we did, and the government under the leadership of Amarinder Singh did not abandon them at any level. So during the lockdown also they were taken care of, but only which issue they were worried about was back home, their parents, their children, their families, and emotionally. And let me tell you here, when they left from Punjab, the trains were arranged, they booked themselves, but still a lot of them stayed back after booking also, because the lockdown work had started. And I have promised today that out of 2,00,000 industries, almost 2,30,000 are up and operating at about 50% capacity. So secondly, for the season of what is sowing, mechanical sowing, and a lot of farmers have been those machines. As far as the labor and employment is concerned in Punjab, it has been excellent. That is the biggest advantage the state is having today. And another factor which we saw when they were going back, we made sure we stayed on other things when they were back. They did not have belongings. And that gives us a good indication that they have gone back because national income, and they are going to come back with us. It's a matter of time, and we will be up and going and be working straight. Under the leadership of Captain Amarinder Singh, one thing was very clear from day one. Without any issues coming up, he made it very clear that all people staying in Punjab, might be from any nook and corner of this country, are our brothers and sisters, and we should take care of them. And it was taken care, I say that proudly. And as of now, what I feel, that only thing is that it's a matter of time, we will be up and going.
Okay, no, so the point here is, how do we bring them back? And that's the big question. For example, let me give you what some of the companies are doing, or some of the areas and regions are doing. Raheja Developers, for example, is saying that we are going to offer better living conditions, referral programs for the workers to incentivize them and for them to come back. Prestige Group says that we are going to fly back some of our workers from Bengal and Bihar. The Vadwa Group says that we are going to bear the transportation cost, and we are going to assure some basic wages to these people and try and convince them, to stay on or to come back. In fact, the association itself, CREDAI, has said that we are working with state governments to bring back our laborers. Similarly, in the fast-moving consumer goods industries, for example, Parle is now looking at the option of recruiting from other industries, giving them the skill that is needed, training them and using them in their factories. But that's also not going to be possible beyond a point, because there are no people, if 10 lakh or 15 lakh workers from one state have gone home, then every industry will face that problem. Now, you heard what Jakpal was saying. In fact, some of the Punjab farmers on an individual basis have begun to offer incentives to their workers to return back. They're also arranging for buses to UP and Bihar to bring back these people. But largely, what is it that the states can do? That becomes the question, Clyde. For Maharashtra also, it will be a big problem.
Tanvi, on the onset, if you recall, there are a couple of debates that we did when this whole thing started, when the lockdown was announced, when the government started taking measures to protect people from this pandemic. Our government very categorically and right on the onset had told the migrants that you don't need to leave the city. Our Chief Minister, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, went on record in one of his addresses to the people of Maharashtra that he told these migrants, all the migrants, that you don't need to leave the city. We will take care of you. And that's what we were doing. We were making sure that we were taking care of these people. More than 5.5, 6 lakh people were taken care of every day. They were given accommodation, 3 times meal, whether it's a Shiv Bhojan scheme or any other way of, taking care of these people. We did that. We told people not to leave the city. Even there are others who were there through public distribution systems. We made sure they got their ration. So right from the onset, we've been telling all the migrant workers who are planning to leave their city that, listen, we are there to take care of you. We will take care of you. And once they come back, we will take care of them. That's a fact, and that will happen. There are a lot of other things that also I'd like to highlight here is that a lot of these migrants, if you I'm sure you know about this, and a lot of people who are listening to us know that, there's a lot of these migrants actually go home during the summers. They go back home during the summers. There's another set of people, they go back home during the monsoons, because many of them are into farming. They farm their own land, they till their own land. So a lot of these people even go during the monsoon. So uh, this whole thing has happened around the same time during the summer and the monsoon. So a lot of people who've gone back, I'm sure they will come back, because I'll tell you a personal experience. I'll tell you a personal example that I'm part of an industry which is, we do home designs, as an interior designing and all. I have people who during this time always go back home. They always go back home, and then they spend a couple of months in their home. Either it's farming or it's in the summer times trying to get things together in order. And then they come back. And I've been talking to a lot of these people who work with me, and see, there are some people who work on contractual basis, some people work on per project basis, and some who are employed. So there are different people who take care of these people, and obviously everybody has spoken to each other. And from what I gather and what I understand, what is happening is the state government has always been ready to help the migrants. They've always welcomed the migrants with open hands. Even like I said earlier, they were told, you don't have to go back. You don't have to worry. We are here to take care of you. We will make sure we'll take care of you. And once they start coming back, whether it's like you said, some companies are giving incentives, some people are giving them other, provisions. The state will also work on that. Right now, what is on hand is what we are working on, is to make sure that people are safe, people are protected from this pandemic. And once these things, slow down, become less, and we start looking at the other issues that come up, the migrant issues, like reverse migration going back, when they come back again, they will be taken care of, and plans are there in place. Plans will be made in place for all these people when they come back.
Yeah, but I think the plan needs to be made now, Clyde. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Take a look at what the status
That's what I
is.
just told
Larsen
you.
and Toubro, the biggest infrastructure giant in our country, says that they now have only 1.2 lakh laborers compared to 2.2 lakh laborers in the pre-COVID era. Now, they're not just talking about this as a seasonal problem, because they also know that, of course, there is a season when all of them go home, they go away for a couple of months, and then they come back. In the automotive sector, the Federation of the Pune Chakar Industries, that's where the largest automobile manufacturing hub is, says that only 40% of the employees have been engaged because the rest are not there. They've all gone home. In the textile and apparels industry, about 30% of the workforce has already gone home. This was the comment that was made by the Export Council, Promotion Council. Similarly for gems and jewelry, and we've done reports from various markets where businesses are telling us that how do they open? They don't have people. I mean, for example, in Chennai, restaurants are not opening because they don't have people. That's what it's come down to. Mr. Chandrakant Salunke, give us these some insights. Government has made so many announcements for SME and MSME segment to help them restart their businesses and survive. But how will you do that if you don't have people?
See, 2 points are there. One is, particularly the migrant labor already left, and I don't think that they will come back in soon. Number one. Number two is, particularly government says that, we should invite them, we should bring them. MSME sector cannot afford these charges where they can to invite the or bringing the workers to here for working in a factory. Here I have suggestion to the government for state and central. Please, allocate some funds to bring the workers back to the cities. Number one, provide them proper food, shelter, and support to stay back, because government is looking for investment from the industry to provide a large employment. The government can take care of all these things. My friend from NCP was saying that they are putting a lot of efforts for bring. Okay, but how and when this worker will come back? As you said that up to Diwali, I don't think any worker will come back. This is a fear. Another very interesting point now. Look at from the yesterday, we have a mission begun in Maharashtra. Mission begun for what? Working. But now looking at the crowd, I am sure that next 1 week time we will find 1 lakh cases come up. So this is a worry about that. Instead of starting, we think we are going to close down again, and the government is going to take serious action against this. My suggestion to the government: please allocate some funds to bring the workers from their native place, to bring the Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Bangalore, and provide them shelter, food, and also provide them additional cash allocation, so that they can survive, they can run, they can work in the factories.
Is there also a concern, Mr. Salunke, that their own home states right now are also, trying to take care of them? There is a government's announcement on a free food grain for the next 2 months that has been announced. They are stepping up on Manrega and trying to provide employment there. So for at least for a few months, the workers won't even have any need or any incentive to come back to the states of Maharashtra or Gujarat or Karnataka.
Yes, of course, because the local government is providing all support now, food, grain, rather, they are providing Manrega job. And from one family, at least 5 people, 10 people have started working. I don't think now next 6 months, at least the workers will come back in infrastructure, construction, manufacturing industry, farming, other in textile industry, automotive industry. This is a big problem now, because the planning before the first lockdown is failed, and I'm sure that this is a impact to industry, manufacturing industry, productivity, which is we are going to the negative growth in these next 2-3 months. So this will be a very big impact. I suggest the railway minister and the MSM minister, industry minister, look into this matter to bring the workers back, to provide them a proper shelter from the government point of view, from the state government. Then only I'm sure that at least next 3 or 4 months we will start our activity, our business, our manufacturing smoothly.
Okay, Clyde, do you want to respond to that? This is, a big voice coming in from the SME industry saying we can't afford to incentivize and we can't even afford to function without them.
No, I completely agree with what Mr. Salunke has been saying, and he's made some very valid points, and that's what the government is looking at. Earlier, you told me that it has to be planning has to be there. The planning has already started. There is a section of the government that is already planning at what the future holds for us and what we need to do in the future. So, what Mr. Salunke said, we have to look into that, and will be looked into it. Like I said, we were telling the migrants not to go. Now, when they're coming back, they will be welcomed. And whatever has to be done for them initially, they need, before they get their work or they start working again, if they need to be taken care of, all those things are there and they will be taken care of. It's not that it has to be planned. That thing is already there. We will take care of the migrants, and whether it comes to incentives, how to get them back to their work, and how they will progress, all that will happen. The government will look into it minutely, look at micro level, and make sure that these people get what they have to get and what they deserve.
No, I ask you this question, Clyde, because there's also a top view which says that, well, we will use this opportunity to provide employment to the locals. That let the locals actually take these jobs. Let us, and I know that the industries minister has said that he is going to be setting up and labor bureau to ensure that people who are here can be matched with their skills and provide employment. Now, if there is going to be some kind of a political sentiment behind this, then it may be. Then I don't see this government actually providing incentives to bring back these people.
And no. I don't think that's the right thing to say right now. See, jobs are there for everybody. Whoever fits the bill gets the job, and that's how it's going to be. There's going to be no politics on this. Definitely not. If somebody goes for a job and you think is good enough for that job, will get the job. I mean, like Mr. Salunke said, there is a huge break that is going to happen. In the meantime, if somebody is good enough for a job, and if he gets the job, fair enough. So if the job is there for everybody, it doesn't have to be somebody from here or there. The jobs are there for everyone. Whoever comes in gets the job at the right time, and that's how it's going to work.
Okay, let me also tell our viewers, centrally what the government is considering right now, and this is what a group of ministers have recommended, after some deliberation, that maybe there needs to be automatic enrollment under the Ayushman Bharat scheme. So you tell these workers, even if you are here and not in your home state, you will be covered if there are any health needs. In times of a pandemic or after that, we will ensure that you are taken care of. Automatic enrollment, under the Migrants Workers Welfare Fund, and that's something that the government is actually doing right now. National employment policy for workers, regularizing 2 crore construction workers. Some of the steps that the central government has already taken is to say that, okay, let's ensure that there is some kind of rental relief and accommodation that is arranged for them once they come back. Let's also say that you will have one nation and one ration card, and let's hasten the process of implementing that across the country so that people don't have to think twice before going from one state to the other. These are some of the steps that are being considered or have been put in the pipeline. But if I can go back to Mr. Jagpal and ask him this question, Mr. Jagpal, especially at the state government level, what other incentives can be put forward to get these people back, get the workers back when they're required, whether for farming, agriculture, or whether for industries, whether for the brick kilns, which is also, a big business in the state of Punjab?
Tanvi, I would like to put it across to you that the biggest advantage Punjab has is they did not abandon their migrant laborers. And because of that, we do not have any trust deficit. And as far as workers are, that's because they have been regular coming here over the years. And I have been in the field. Workers and the employers, they are in touch with each other also. They're talking, and in fact, they're getting messages that you put buses or you put send us some, you pay for our fare, and we are ready to come. As I told you earlier, I think because of my voice was not properly, there was some in the live problem. So the thing I want to add is that, from day one during this lockdown also, everyone was taken care of over here. As there was a concern, CM was very categorical that they brought to Punjab. That was kind of sentiment which was there. And rest assured, I feel personally that those who have had any bad experience as far as two cases, and if they went back because of a emotional thing. And it is going to be provider. They start with lawyers, their relationship. Survived with them, and we have lived with them for a long time. So I think as far as Punjab is concerned, Punjab has not lost the trust deficit.
Yes. Okay, I understand what you're saying, that the trust deficit is not lost, but what remains to be seen is how quickly you're also able to get them back. I'm completely out of time, so I'm going to thank all of our panelists for joining us right now. Viewers, the states have to move very quickly on this. Perhaps they need the central government's help as well. They need to come up with schemes, they need to come up with incentives, they need to arrange for transport wherever is necessary. The industry itself will have to start doing it, but the big players can, the small ones can't. And the small ones are the one who will actually get into trouble. How do they run their small businesses if they don't have workers? A lot of these businesses actually need skilled workers, and those skilled workers are gone. You cannot replace them with any temporary local worker who may be available. Think about it. In many places, even shops, even restaurants are not opening because they don't have people. Cabs won't ply as much on your streets, even if your city is ready to open up, because these people have not come back yet. So it requires a lot of consideration and collaboration, working together between states, state governments, the industry itself, to ensure we bring back the workers, take care of them, and ensure that the businesses begin their production as it used to be before the pandemic hit us. Similarly, for the agriculture sector, if we don't have the workers back on the fields, by the time the season hits, then we're going to be in big trouble for one entire season. Whether or not we get good monsoon, it won't really matter. Thank you to our panelists for really joining us on this special conversation. Well, let's move on and bring you a few reports, ground reports, on how it was on day one of India unlocking phase 2. Now, by phase 2, I mean today was when the malls, restaurants began to open. They all resumed operations. Places of worship resumed their and opened up their doors to devotees. You also had private offices stepping up on their work strength, 10%, 15%. So there were more people on the roads driving, looking for public transport. And that actually in cities like Mumbai has now become one of the biggest challenge. Apart from the essential services for which people were already going to work, you now have some private offices who've begun to function. But the public transport hasn't opened to that extent. The Mumbai local trains are not running. There are buses which are running, but the buses also have to ensure social distancing, which means that each bus can only carry less than half the load it used to, maybe 1/3 the load, which means people are stranded on the road, waiting for hours together to catch that one bus. Here is a report that Neha got for us earlier in the evening when the offices were shutting down and people were trying to get back home in the city of Mumbai.
The day one of when Mumbai unlocked, while it was many people actually working in private offices turned out, but their commuting remained a major issue because the number of public transport buses that were provided, as the cap was set on it, that not more than 30 passengers could sit in these buses. Many people had to wait for hours altogether at the bus stops. Many were seen running after the buses so that they could get accommodated in the buses. And on many accounts, we saw social distancing norms being flouted, wherein they had to rush to climb into the bus. 2 passengers were sitting on a seat which was opposite to what was decided, and at many times there were many standing passengers observed in buses. I'm standing at Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus, very close to the railway station. Now this is the island city, the town area as it's called, of Mumbai. A lot of government people, private people here come for offices, not just from the suburbs of the city but from neighbouring districts of Mumbai like Kalyan, Thane, Borivali, Mira Bhayandar, even from Virar, and these are far off destinations. Now, as the suburban local trains still remain shut in the city, only buses are available for people, and as you can see, with the limit of the norm that has been set, while the crowd is only increasing, we see that by about 7 p.m. now, the authorities have started allowing people to pack and go inside the buses because the crowd was not even reducing. This is the queue that has been formed right till the other important building, or the Times of India building as we call it there, and this is the queue right from the subway of the station. They are all waiting for buses. Let's try understand from the people itself what is their issues, because remember they are this is an affordable mode of transport as far as BEST buses are concerned. Not everybody can afford Uber, Ola or even private cabs to go back home. Sir, आप बताइए कब से रुके हैं आप और बस मिल पा रही है नहीं मिल पा रही है? बस मिल पा रही है नहीं मिल पा रही? आधा घंटा हो गया, नहीं 20 मिनट मिली। कहाँ जा रहे हैं आप? हाँ, सायन चेंबूर। तो कोई और कैब ट्राई करने की कोशिश की आपने, ऊबर वगैरह?
बस के ऊपर क्या ओला तो मिलता ही नहीं है, ओला नहीं मिलता, टैक्सी नहीं मिलता है।
तो कितनी दिक्कत आ रही है बस मिलने में?
तो बस में दिक्कत बस आती है, मगर बस में से स्टैंडिंग आती है ना, बस में लेता नहीं अंदर।
If I can show you clearly the example, because a bus has just come right now. This is the way people are getting inside the bus, and this has been the situation since the morning. Social distancing norms have gone out for autos, and people are now just forced to allow more people to go in because they are waiting for hours together here at the bus stop. So that definitely now BEST has also sent in some people here to monitor how the crowd is going in, so that at least the woes of people as far as commuting is concerned is reduced. So yes, while we know that these norms were set in by the administration, it is the fleet is not able to match up to the demand of people who are requiring these buses, and which is why this problem has emerged.
Well, that's as far as Mumbai is concerned, the problem of public transport. The other aspect, of course, is restaurants reopening. Not in Mumbai, but at least in some of the other metros that has begun. For example, the city of Bengaluru. And what we saw was citizens of Bengaluru flocking to Vidyarthi Bhavan, a popular South Indian restaurant in the city. The small restaurant has now installed partitions at the table to ensure social distancing. Here's a report.
And it looks like the people of Bengaluru are back for their favorite food, the dosa, here at the Vidyarthi Bhavan, a place that was established before independence. And you can see why this place is so popular. It's because they serve tasty food, and you can see the demand for it. While most of the restaurants we visited this morning, which of course serve the similar type of food, here of course the number of people are much more. Safety precautions are being followed as protocol, and sanitizers to temperature checks. All of that of course is being done, and you can see while the queue is outside to pick up a takeaway, inside let me take you through some of the very unique arrangements that this restaurant has done for the safety of its customers. Now earlier there was a capacity of 100 people to sit down here, but now the capacity has been reduced to less than 50, and you can see all of the tables have this fiber barricading. So if one person sits down here, the other person sits on the opposite side. Even if you're a part of the same group, you can probably choose a table which has a division by 4 people. So nobody really coming directly in contact with anyone. They're saying they're sanitizing also a lot of vessels regularly. So it's quite unique how they've really made the arrangements here. I have the owner of the restaurant. We are looking at a huge crowd that's coming in today, and unique measures that have been employed. How difficult was it to make such arrangements now and cope up with this?
Yeah, it was quite challenging. Rather than difficulty, it's quite challenging. And we have come up with these acrylic partitions just to have, like in middle class restaurants like us, there will be a lot of single people who would be coming. And when they are asked to share a table, because the smaller tables we are supposed to have only 2 people in a table. So to share a table, everybody would be having a concern, because while eating you have to remove the mask, and if we by accidentally sneezes or something, there is an issue. That's why we came up with this idea, and we are placing this partitioning for unrelated customers. But whereas for a family of 4 who have come together, anyhow they have come together, they are from the same home, they have come in the same car. For them we will allow to sit in the same table. Otherwise we are restricting only 2 people per table.
Well, that's quite a unique way of going about things. I have a customer here with me. Do you feel safe now? You brought your kid as well with you to the restaurant. Does the restaurant make you feel safe?
Chef.
Do you enjoy your dosa when you come?
Yes, sir.
Well, the smile on the face says it all. Of course, it's difficult times right now, but of course people are trying to bring things back to normalcy, and here the restaurant doing its bit to ensure that the people who come in feel safe as well, because if there are a group of 4 people like this seated here, they'll feel comfortable, like the owner said. Even if they're sitting right opposite each other, they feel that the shield somewhere will act as an added layer of protection for all of them.
Well, who thought this is how we would be living our lives? Earlier this year, nobody would have even imagined it. But the love for dosa can bring people out in desperation and take all these precautionary measures just so they can have that food.